Hello, NightHaunt. I am doing part 2 of this video now. I had to say hello to my granddaughter. So what ended up really working well for the silver is to actually mix some of the wash that I made, the black wash, in with the silver paint. And the media that's in that black paint is really making the silver cover better. And then it's kind of like a black metal, which is actually a really nice effect. So it took quite a bit of work to get silver paint to work, but definitely, even if the silver in the Artecho is not the best, for the amount of money that you save, it's probably worth having to work with it, I would think. If you haven't already bought AK Interactive metallic paints or something really well known like that, probably be okay like this. All right, now I'm going to try my contrast paint. So I'm going to get my brush really clean. Get all the metallic out of there. And it's still got a good point, or I go wash it with soap and water. And now I'm going to take this sap green. I think I've already used this. Yep. I'm going to take this sap green. And it's real thick, so the equivalent of a drop if it's a little bit more thin. And then I'm going to use my medium. Just keep thinning it out. My medium in water. That looks pretty good, and it doesn't look like it's breaking down, so that's a good sign for the Artecho paints. And then I'm just going to paint his cloak. And that seems to be working just like any other contrast paint that I paid a lot more money for. When I paint contrast paint, I start at the bottom, so if it pools down low where you want the pool to be, right? I'm just kind of conducting this pool down to the bottom here too. So I'm really happy with that as a contrast paint. I'm thinking that's a really nice contrast paint. And I just made it with mostly water and some matte medium, as described in Banshee 2. Yep, I think it's pretty nice. All right, I see a lock that I forgot. So I'm going to go back to my silver. Get a little bit of that black mixed in with it, that black wash. I'm going to paint the lock that's hanging down from his neck. All right, now all I have left to paint, I'll get that nice and clean. Get rid of that metallic paint. I'll get that nice and clean, and then I'll paint the evilness black. So down here at the bottom, these strands are what I call the evilness. The hand of Nagash, reaching out to these guys. And unlike Banshee 2, I'm going to just paint more of the bottom and try to leave more of the primer on there. Also make it easier, less work. And then preserves what I did with the primer. So I'm really looking for the ends of the where the cloak is primed and painting those black. Just the ends. Sorry, off camera. And I can raise up that thing more too, to make sure that it's not off camera. It doesn't matter if I get a little bit on the base because I'm going to repaint that with Death Robe Forest anyways. tried to touch up the silver and I had too much black on my brush. It was definitely a problem. So definitely if you do that, make sure you're using the black wash, not the black paint on your brush. And I'm hoping that the places where there's a lot of black on the bottom will light up with the iridescent paint really kind of purplish. Oops, I got a little on the chain. So back to that silver again. Oh yeah, that fixed it. So verdict on the Artecho is that it made a great contrast paint. It worked really, really well. It made a great wash. The only trouble I had with the Artecho paint at all was painting the silver. And the trick to that seemed to be, if you don't want to buy some really good metallic paint and you want to use the Artecho, is just to add a little bit of black wash to it and kind of suspend it. I also add some medium to it too, which definitely helped. A lot of it could be just I didn't have my paint thin enough too. Because there's not much silver left, and now I'm using a lot more medium and less paint. It seems to be getting down in the crevices and doing a lot better job. So it could just be user error too. Take a little bit of the sap green. Is that what it's called? Sap green. I'm going to kind of touch up on his head where I kind of whoopsed. Kind of looks like he has some armor maybe on his head or whatever. So I just touched that up. I was messy with the wash, but that wasn't the fault of it. I just got it not thin enough. And then I'm going to take more sap green and paint the base. I don't like the color as much as Deep Forest, Death Row Forest Citadel paint, but it can make a base coat for that to go over the top of it. And I like my old NightHaunt models where I painted them with blue and white AK snow stuff to make it look like water and ice and snow. And I like that better anyway, so I might end up redoing all these just right over the top. So that's pretty much it. Probably give it a little bit of white. On the skulls on the base. think I'm going to pretty much call it quits with that then. So if you stayed with me all the way to the end, I appreciate it. I have the kind of personality, if we know this works with the Pro Acryl, what if we use like a different kind of paint and see how well it works? And that kind of a method can be challenging, right? But I would rate the Pro Acryl as a wash and as a contrast paint A+, definitely. Thank you, Night Haunts.